So with the recent announcement of Ride 6 coming in early 2026, the Ride series has been a hot topic across the Discord servers. And recently I saw someone discussing how Ride 4 Day 1 Edition was the peak version of any Ride game. So that got into my head and I thought, you know what, let's make a video, let's go back, revert the clock back to 2020 and see how Day 1 Ride 4 plays. Let's see how it went. So firstly, before we get into anything, a massive thank you as always to Reese for fixing the game for me and getting me back on Day 1 edition of Ride 4. A bit of hacking the mainframe and a bit of his business, something that I'm completely unaware of how it works. But here we are, back on Day 1 version of Ride. I'm going to do a bit of a time drill just to see initially how the game feels, and we'll report back and basically we'll do a race or two and just see, is it as good as people remember?
We just need money.
So just before we get on track, a little bit of a backstory of when I first originally played this game. I was actually back on Xbox, and I remember after not really enjoying Ride 3 and MotoGP 18 and 19 not being particularly great, I actually had a good bit of love for this game back when it initially released, and somewhere along the life cycle in 2020 I did end up going from Xbox to PC, and then eventually, I think about a year later, I bought Ride 4 back and it never felt good again. It never since that day has ever felt as good as it did on Xbox. So here today I want to see if there's a bit of a rose tinted glasses goes on with a bit of nostalgia, or was it just absolutely an amazing game back on Day 1 before they did some updates and broke it again. So let's jump in. Brands hat, run the ZX10, a race modify one, going a few laps and just see what the physics are, because that's most important about this video, is the actual physics, because most of the Unreal engines that Milestone have used over here, the games that have come on the UE 4 and 5 now, have always been good looking and they've sound relatively okay. It's just the physics that have been great. So let's jump in and see what we can do. So immediately after only one corner, I can feel straight away the rear end has that kind of weird Unreal like GP18 feeling where it like just bounces around underneath you. It's really bouncy, and the rear just slides for no reason. So I'll show you in a second. It kind of I don't mean power slides. It's like the rear basically is sliding out from underneath you, either on power or off throttle at lean. It just seems to come around on you, which is something I don't remember particularly much from when I first played this game back in 2020. I will say one thing though, sense of speed is really good. I'm not too sure if Ride 5 is anywhere like that, but just sense speed here at the moment, that brands is very good. One thing I am noticing as well, and this is more, see just there, just I pick up the throttle, the rear kind of goes, but you get no vibration, there's no, the TC isn't cutting in. It's a real weird kind of physics and visual thing it's doing where the rear steps out of its own accord, because the bike is going forward, there is no spin, the revs don't change. You can't feel any TC kicking in, but the rear just starts to kind of wander under itself. It's quite weird. But also it feels like the camera that's behind the bike that I'm using basically is attached to the front wheel. So every time the bike wheelies, the camera starts bobbing, which is a real kind of weird effect to have. You'll see it again out of here, that kind of the camera starts to kind of go up and down with only the front wheel, which is quite weird. I'd much rather a fixed camera where the bike would do its all movements on my screen and not move my screen. You notice a lot out there where the camera, if you just kind of watch the surroundings, you can kind of feel the bike kind of creating this weird bouncing effect through the screen. So far, it's not terrible. I will admit it's not terrible. Now, I wouldn't have said, even if I booted up current day Ride 4 or Ride 5, I wouldn't say either of them are terrible. Again, the rear end is just doing some weird stuff, and when the rear slides, it comes back in line, then overloads the front, and then if you either crash, you get a bit of a wheelie going on. It's not bad. Like, actually, I'm not hating on it. I'm just pointing out the kind of weird little things I'm noticing. But overall, like, I've done, I think 4 laps now, 3 laps. I'm gonna probably say it on screen. It says 2 laps completed, 1 out lap and this lap, and haven't crashed. It doesn't feel terrible. It just feels a bit. If you remember MotoGP 18 feeling a bit bouncy and a bit soft and a bit kind of unusual compared to what had come before it, this game definitely still has that. Which is one thing that straight away when I picked it up just now, I can feel it just very. I wonder, is it been caused a lot by the weird camera thing with being attached to the front wheel? Because a lot of the, let's crash, so there's it. A lot of the visual cues are creating this bouncing effect on screen, and I feel like that's maybe affecting the way that it actually feels. But we're gonna stick a set of thoughts in, because I reckon maybe my weird rear end sliding around underneath me is tire temps, but we'll see, because look, it's like the traction isn't kicking in, the bike isn't revving, but the rear just steps out, so It's obviously just something a bit peculiar and lean. Now, I will admit, I was very skeptical even just coming into this video, because I knew since then the games have improved, and I've done a video not so long ago where I tried like 13 MotoGP games in one video. And the one kind of thing I took away from that is every year they do make progress, they do get slightly better. They might have some annoying feature in the newer game that go, oh, I didn't enjoy that because of XYZ. But overall, the base of the game improves a little bit every year, which leads to kind of improvement over 5 years of a decent margin. So going back always feels a little bit worse in my eyes, but this does feel terrible. I must admit, I'm not hating it. And when I played Ride 4 the most recent, I was probably at Ride 5 at launch. I did do a comparison video of them, or in one of the videos I did some sort of comparison, but since then of course I've been a million hours on GP bikes, so everything will feel a bit bouncy, floaty, unnatural to that game in my eyes. But again, I wouldn't say this is terrible by any means. We're going to try a different track in a second, do a bit of a race maybe, and see what it feels like when I'm against other players and AI and stuff like that, and see. But this is definitely not bad. Now, it might be worth going and trying Ride 5 directly after this to see basically how it stacks up in my eyes, because as I'm riding around here, I'm starting to think to myself, what does Ride 5 even feel like? Because I only have about 18 hours now and didn't really enjoy that game too much, to the point where I didn't really do a whole lot with it. So oh yeah, I might do that actually after this little segment here. I might jump onto Ride 5 and just do a complete back-to-back with Ride 4 day 1 versus current day Ride 5 and see what it plays like. So I've gone to Imola. We're going to do a race on the R3 for the racing modified. Now of course I am only trying the race modified bike, so basically the full super bike, so maybe you could argue I'm skewing it that the 600s or the road bikes could be slightly better, and I can't admit I'm not going to test every track, every bike, every condition. I'm just going back to kind of get a rough idea, because when I would have played this game a lot when it came out, this is the sort of stuff I would have done. I would have done time trial, I've done a lot of hot laps on these bikes, and that's what I would remember as being quite good in the game. So let's jump into the race and see how it plays with a bit of AI. I do remember this Aprilia being an absolute weapon. Basically from Ride 4, my defining memory is, oh really, it was any bike with wings, any of the super bikes was just half a second a lap faster. Now I have the AI on 100%, I don't know what they're like on this game on the grass. So I might blast them, they might blast me. Oh my god, it's so bouncy. Oh, Suitor, forgot they existed. Oh. The track is so bumpy and the bikes don't really react very naturally to the bumps, so they start like bouncing around. Like this feels like we're on a road circuit, so bouncy and there's so much movement. Like I remember from this era of milestone game that, oh hello Suitor, that I felt like they had tracks that were really decently designed with good level of bumps, but their physics hadn't really been brought into the modern era of being able to kind of deal with these bumps, so the bikes just bounced around a lot. Because that was my, again, I go back to GP18 a lot, and I know for a fact that GP18 was really bouncy, and I had this weird, oh I'm gonna kill him, yeah, that was coming, wasn't it? Really, we had a couple of collisions, so not surprised that happened. But that's just straight away what I'm noticing, is that it's really bouncy, and I'm not getting a lot of vibration to the controller, which is one thing that I think, to Milestone's credit, over the last couple of years they have improved that quite a bit when it works. Shout out to MotoGP 25. But in this one here, like unless I'm about to crash or I'm on a curb, there's very little going on through the controller, so I don't have any idea what the rear is doing, which might add up to some of the reason why I feel like it's sliding around a lot. But many people will still hold this as one of the best, probably the best ride game. I don't think 5 really got as much love as this did. I think what happened was that Ride 3 was pretty average. The physics just weren't great. There was so much understeer. The bikes didn't turn. You couldn't really stop them. There wasn't a lot of feeling. And to be honest, I still feel a lot of that through this game. So I still feel what I remember from Ride 3 back in the day, whereas this is a bit better. And I remember loving this game when I first got it, that it was just so enjoyable and like it felt good. But after basically what I've seen since then, and the 5 years afterwards, what games have come, GP bikes of course, and even the modern MotoGP milestone games, they have made steps. As much as people probably don't maybe like to see it or admit it, they are better. My defining factor really is that it feels like there's weird lateral grips where you slide across the tarmac weirdly. I think that's caused a lot of issues with some of the feelings I'm having, but overall, it's, again, like I said, it's not a bad game. I just kind of keep coming back to, since what they've done since has been a bit better, this does feel a bit floaty to me, and has some weird sliding physics where you feel like you're never stopping, the bike's constantly drifting into the corner and pushing you wide. You don't really feel that like you're actually gripping the tarmac, you feel like you're on top of it, which is something that's very hard for games to get right. And I think going back to this now, it very much feels like that I am like ice skating around this place and I'm kind of doing a bit of a dance and not actually finding grip. I'm just on a surface really. So, but like I said, I'm going to try Ride 5 here in a second because I'm really interested to see what Ride 5 offers compared to day one of Ride 4, because I feel like, judging by what I'm riding here, a lot of people will actually be surprised how Ride 5 feels compared to this. So probably finish off this lap and then we'll jump to Ride 5 and do something similar and see where it stacks up. So we're here now on Ride 5. I've gone to the Nürburgring GP track on a race modified Gixxer 1000 2020. So I've not done any laps, so I'm going to jump straight in and see straight away, only 3 or 4 minutes after I've come off Ride 4, what exactly it feels like. So a lot of this game, just from the menus, look very much the same. I didn't think it was this similar, but here we are now. Oh, our camera angle's getting thrown in the bin. Alright, we don't use the... Okay, that's a good start. Let's just do a little restart of that one. Already though, you can see there, look how bouncy the bike looks again straight away, so not too sure. Oh my good god, what the hell is this? Okay, Ride 4 is better. Yeah, Ride 4 is better. This is fucking terrible. Where's it? Why is there such a delay in the controller? What the fuck is this shit? Yeah, this is horrific. This is horrific. There's a reason I don't play this game. Oh my good god. Right, chat. Yeah. Yeah, done. I'm honest on this game again. There's like a massive controller input delay. That feels terrible. To basically summarize, so what we've done in this video, Ride 4 day one does feel pretty good. It has some weird sliding physics that are a little bit down to probably not having them completely optimized for the Unreal Engine at that time. In terms of a better game though, 10 times better than Ride 5 day one is. Now what Ride 4 day one versus Ride 4 now it is, I think it was better back in the day, even at that. Now I still don't think it's an amazingly realistic perfect racing game. There's still a lot going on, but compared to what I just played there for 11 seconds, Ride 4 trumps that. So let me know in the comments if you've tried this yourself. I will leave a comment, I'll pin the comment on how to do this if you're on Steam, just so if people can do it, because like I said, I'm not a very techie guy, so I would not be the man to actually do this and explain it in video. So I'll leave a little Word document you can try for yourself and see if I'm just talking rubbish or am I right. Is Ride 4 day one better than what's come since? But it's just kind of in the run up to Ride 6 I wanted to try this, and yeah, it's been an interesting little experiment, and I think yeah, Ride 4 day one was probably the best ride game of its time. And yeah, Ride 5 there, geez, that felt absolutely terrible. It felt like there was about a 10-second delay in my input, so yeah, god awful. Anyway guys, thank you for watching. Hope you have enjoyed. Let me know in the comments what you think of the video. Actually, see you soon for some more motorbiking content. Good luck. Thanks for watching. So long and full.